JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Tuesday, October 28th at 3:30 here. Talk quick about the market. Some names I'm looking at go from the S&P in the green, up about a 0.5%. On the heels of yesterday's rally. So if you take a look at the weekly gains so far on the SPY, I guess we're close to 2%, 1.7%. So remarkable stuff. Government shutdown going into day 27. Uh, yeah, just remarkable stuff. And blue sky breakouts. Typically, blue sky begets blue sky, right? Does not. The sellers are kind of been worked through. Tough to find resistance. So not, I put on the watch list this morning. I thought 690. Hey, anything's kind of possible. As crazy as that sounds, because it's like, what's there? Who's left to sell, right? So just at some point there'll be some pull, and just be prepared for it. I put on the watch list this morning as well. 678 is a possible area that, hey, maybe there might be some uh, some breakthrough there if that doesn't hold. But outside of that, upper Bollinger Band on the SPY is 684.99. So maybe that's another spot. But tomorrow's the big day, right? You have three of the Mag sevens, seven companies reporting. You have the Fed. Fed's gonna be, there's gonna be no surprise there, right? So the cut rate's 0.25%. I don't know how Powell's gonna do his little rant. Probably nothing out of the ordinary either. And then after the close, it's gonna be all about that capex spend, in my opinion, right? And you look today, who's powering this rally? It's in the video over Nvidia over 200 for the first time. Some of these other Mag 7, it's up 5% here. Crazy, right? I mean, trillions of dollars in market cap, and a 5% move is like an insane amount of market valuation. Remarkable stuff. You take a look, Microsoft, Google as well. I mean, everybody wrote, well, Google's actually down 0.5% here today. But the thing, and I usually try and have a glass half full kind of scenario on things. Today, take a look at the amount of stocks trading over the 50-day moving average. It actually dropped nearly 13% today. So there's 13% less companies today trading over their 50-day moving average, despite the S&P being at all-time highs right now as I'm talking. So, and then some of the names on my watch list. So I would say, if I just took a quick guess, maybe 55% of my watch list is in the red today. So, people always used to make the big bear case, right? Because when markets are hitting highs, they have to create some kind of narrative to say, oh, this market's unhealthy. The sell-off is coming, and they usually use the market's breadth, right? The amount of stocks rising in tandem together as the market moves higher. And today is a great example of that. It's not the case, but we're at all-time highs. So that's kind of that this week. We'll see. Tomorrow with Mag 7 names like Microsoft, Meta, Google. Those are like the three of the larger components in regards to all the capex spend. I had this chart here. I don't even know where I pulled it from. But take a look at this pie chart here. The over $500 billion of capex that's going to be spent in 2026, and then what's happened in 2025. You got obviously Google's a huge share of that. The Meta, the Amazon. So want to hear those rosy, dovish capex spends tomorrow. And it's funny. I remember maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, Meta was kind of the first one to really start investing in AI, right? And it used to be the metaverse, not the metaverse, but the Web 3.0 was going to be, the next big thing. And Meta, one time they had earnings, and I remember the big quotes. Oh, Zuckerberg lost the most money in history. Meta sold off like 15-20% because of the spend, the capex spend, and that was they kind of like broke the seal, and then everybody got on board. But obviously, you look back now, and then you fast forward here over about buying opportunity. At one point, that won't be the case. But all right, that's kind of the overall market. So not much to derail it. Tomorrow we'll see what the earnings, and then the Fed. And a lot of times you hear a lot of anticipation of the Fed. Considering we haven't had a lot of the economic data out, I don't know it's as important. All right, so that's overall market. Now just quick on individual names. Just first on DELL, frustrating. So yesterday afternoon, I'm watching I got the DELL calls on Friday because I figured at some point it's going to have some kind of catch-up trade. Like I wouldn't call it catch-up percentage. To me, I think it should be at all-time highs, and it's not. And 175 was the highs back in May of 2024, and since then it's had some ups and downs. And then you would think with everything going on, all these other names having rallied, that DELL would have, and it hasn't. And I think it's on a 6-session winning streak right now. I just want to make sure I'm in when it does have this kind of overshoot rally, and maybe this is the start of it. I hope. But I got those calls on Friday, and then yesterday, stock gap's up 2%, and the calls are pretty much flat. And then it's finding some choppiness around 160. I'm like, if this dips under 160, I'm going to lose money on the trade. So I didn't want to be in a spot where that happened. I locked him out, and then sure enough, it was actually flat today. It was trading 162 at about 11 o'clock, and I look at the calls, and the calls are like they're green, even though the stock was barely in the green. It's kind of frustrating. So the market does what it typically does, frustrate, right? And then sure enough, it goes on a run here. It's starting at 12 o'clock. It hasn't looked back, and it's right here almost at 167. I have two sides of the trade. I was going to look for lottos for this week again, the 175s, or I'm like, I put it on the watch and I'm like, let me get the strikes for next week. So got some more time. Those are up close to 50%. Let's see if they still are. And like I usually do, look to take some off on the way up. Oh, they're going to get close to a double here soon. So to me, I think, I posted this chart too. There's kind of like some consolidation, some chop. I think once it breaks out, and it just did, I think it's into the 170s this week. So that's the DELL trade. Okay, and then on to Reddit here. Reddit just had a little spike from 213. Similar story as DELL. Like I got those calls yesterday morning for premium build. It's just they have earnings on Friday, and then couldn't break through. Didn't want to see the premiums erode, so I closed the calls out, and then I keep watching it here today. And I almost pulled the trigger on the 290s. The 290s are the same price as the 300s were yesterday. So that being said, the stock's down 1%, and the calls, the further out of money strikes, are down 35%. So maybe tomorrow's the day. The 290s are 1 by 1, actually are 75 by 105. So maybe tomorrow I'll be able to get some 280s, play for premium build, lock some in before the close Thursday. If I can ride some free into the earnings, I will. My thoughts there on Reddit. I'm not going to go on a huge rant there. And then gold, right? So gold was dipping overnight, down 2% again at the open. And then, it's still down 1% here. It's bounced, but unfortunately, because of the bounce in the market, or at least the rally, the miners are rallying. So my dust position, which was solidly in the green, dust was at 13 in the morning, has reversed course 1180 here. Like I was saying this morning, and I've been saying for the last couple of days, I'm going to continue to be patient on the gold trade because it's going to be volatile. Maybe we have a bounce tomorrow as well. But I think at some point, 3,800 is the next test. And if that doesn't hold, then I can, I'm not downgrading my gold price target, but I think a test down to 3,700 is possible. So that's gold, that's dust. Just some other names here too. And, I was talking about PayPal this morning, and to me, there's events that kind of changed like the trajectory of companies, and PayPal has kind of been stuck as like this. I remember Barron's had an article in the summer, I don't know if it was this year or last year, saying it's like a value stock now, right? And nothing wrong with being a value stock, but to me, I don't think PayPal's done with that. I don't, in regards to being a growth story, a momentum name. It seems like bad news keeps coming, and then they did their Analyst Day, they kind of tried to lean into the AI story. The stock spiked for a little bit and then came back down to earth. And it seems every type of catalyst. I think last week it got upgraded, the stock rallied, and then it fizzled. And then sure enough, the earnings this morning beat estimates, raised guidance. So you thought that would be enough for it to rally. And then they announced a partnership with OpenAI to be like the platform payment processor of choice for the platform. So you would think that would be it. And then, it's all the way up near 78, then 79, then it dips at the open. And then it's been on a melt since 11 o'clock from 78 to 74. And at first I was looking at 85 lottos. And then I was like 80s. Now I'll just be patient. Maybe it has reversal tomorrow. As to me, folks might come, might say, wow, this is an opportunity here. I don't get it. And sometimes, I've said this over the years, when I don't get a stock and as opposed to trying to force a trade, I'll probably just sit on my hands. But I thought the news this morning was finally going to knock it out of the doldrums and get it into rally mode. And then, it's $100 stock in a couple months. Still could be an outcome there. So I'll continue having it on watch, but disappointing there. And then other names, Wayfair was trading Liberation Day, right? And all the fear mongers out there saying how tariffs are going to destroy names like Wayfair. And sure enough, Wayfair, I think it was $28 at one point in April. And I played those calls. I think I had the 40s and the 45s, made a couple 100% on some, 1,000% on another. And then, I guess the mistake there is not following through on this, but there was a lot of noise, right? With tariffs, especially with furniture in Vietnam. Trump has this, I hate to use, not the best words for it, but he has this fixation on like South Carolina being the furniture capital of the world. And they make great stuff. I don't know, South Carolina, North Carolina. So because of that, you have a lot of these headline-driven announcements to hit Vietnam because of it, because the furniture is inexpensive to import and stuff from. Anyway, it caused a lot of bumpiness with Wayfair. So kind of, there's no fun in having a call contract being right on the name and the fundamentals, only to have a tweet out by the president of the United States that derails the stock by 10% just because of the tweet, right? So anyway, sometimes it's tough. Even if you're right and you stick to your guns, you still lose money. So frustrating. Anyway, so needless to say, Wayfair today up 23%. And then you look at RH, and RH is always a name, and I trade that one for some nice profits. Not 100% of the time, but a lot of times there were some nice games, 1,000%, 500%. And then that was another name I was watching. It was like 11:30. It was 191. I'm like, oh, it's not moving with Wayfair. And then sure enough, you turn away for a minute, and then on 12:30, it goes on a run from 192 all the way up to 200. Actually hit 202. Premium's expensive. The 220s I was looking, they were $1.10. Next thing you know, it gets to 200, and those are 240. But maybe a name I'll watch towards the end of the week. You know, RH is like a name that you would think would benefit from lower rates and the current environment. So surprised that hasn't recouped its losses. So that's RH, that's W. Roku reports after the close on Thursday as well. Take a look today, up down 0.25%. So not a fun name to trade if you're trying to do a premium build. So I'll continue to be patient there. And then, you know, Serve, Joby, all these small cap names taking on the chin today. Serve was all the way up near 1460. It's down here 1350 again. No news, no catalyst. And I hate to say like price discovery, but it's price discovery has been going on Serve for like the last 2 weeks. At some point, you just 1375 is the key spot. I'll just continue to hold what I have, and then, you know, last week I was like, if it breaks 1375, I'll look for some calls for a dip. But I no reason to try and again force a trade, so I'll just hold on to what I got. I think that's it, folks. Let's have a great day. I'll be back. Rock and roll.